Foster Car Finance, proud sponsors of the Hawaii Famaland podcast. Haha, it's right, lad.
Welcome to another episode of the How Are We Famaland podcast with me and my co-host John May, and today we are joined by boxing royalty, who is the main man himself, Peter Buckley.
Welcome, Peter. Thanks for joining us.
Ain't a problem, lads. Nice one.
Yeah, so a little. I've got a list here, Peter. We don't normally go into it with any sort of script. We just normally wing it. But,
Yeah,
I'm a bit of a fanboy myself, so I'm like, I've written like loads of notes and stuff like that. Yeah, most famous, Peter, for having 300 fights. Johnny had 300 professional fights. For Barry Jones and Nassim Hamed back to back. I think, was that right, Peter?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So
When you say back to back on the same night, I was gonna say.
I would have.
So we people in the boxing community, Peter, they know you for, there's not much on you other than people's stories, word of mouth, and some of the stories are amazing what you wear, but the backstory to Peter Buckley, who is Peter Buckley and how did he grow up? And
Well,
You're right there, Jazz. Sorry about him, Peter. Honest to
it's
God.
all right.
Thanks for showing you. You getting comfy?
Yeah. Well, me, I was born in Birmingham. I started boxing when I was 10 for a club, a new club around my area called Talbot ABC. Done that there for a couple of years. Then I moved to a club in Ladywood, like in the city centre of Birmingham, with mainly an Irish club run by Irish trainers, because my family's, like my dad was from Ireland, Dublin. And look, so I boxed till I was about 15. I had a really good amateur record. I had 54 fights, lost 4.
wow.
Yeah. Look, I won my first fight, lost my second, then won my next 19. And then a Liverpool lad beat me in the semi-finals, Nigel Benson.
Had you went? Wow.
Yeah, I boxed Nigel. And I also boxed Richie as a pro. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but look, so I boxed till I was 15. My last fight was the NABC finals against Mark Tibbs, Jimmy Tibbs' son. And then I was just in trouble for a few years, in and out of the nick. And didn't go back boxing. I started back boxing. I come out the nick when I was 20. And there was a pro round by me. It was Midland Bantamweight champion called Rocky Lawler. And I was in the pub one night, just got out of prison night. And he just said to me, "Do you fancy coming training?" And that. And I was like, yeah, I'll come training. Well, the next day, he knocked my door, didn't he? So I went to a gym it was a pub that Nobby Nobbs had in Kingston in Birmingham. Just started training over there for a bit. Then the pub got closed down. He's took him around a few gyms, sparring and that. And then next thing, he's just gone to me, get your medicals done. Got my medicals done. And then he said to me, this is after about 3 months. And then he's gone to me, you're fighting next week. So I had a fight in a nightclub in Stafford, boxed a bloke called Alan Baldwin, who's about 30 odd. And I actually beat him, but they give it a draw, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I boxed my next fight against a geezer who had 60 odd fights, Ronnie Stevenson, experienced pro. He beat me on points. And then I won my next 6 or 7 fights. And I was just fighting every other week, really. But I didn't even know what a journeyman was then, if you know what I mean. I was just fighting to earn a few quid, you know what I mean? I didn't have no expectations. I was just fighting to stay out of trouble, really, you know what I mean?
When I was thinking that then, Peter, so when you go into the gym after having this amazing amateur career, was there any call-ups of England or anything like that? Or
Well, when I was when I first got locked up when I was 15, I got a letter sent to my mum's house. I was selected to go to Crystal Palace training. But obviously I couldn't go because I was in the detention centre, do you know what I mean? But any time I used to get out the nick, I never went back. I'd go training once and then just get fed up with it again. Then I'd be locked up again. And I went like that for a couple of years. And I never really thought about boxing. I used to watch it now and again, but I wasn't really into it then. And then look, say it was just like an old pro round by me. Who got me back into it. Just said to me, come and have a go, have a look. But it was like starting all over again. Do you know what I mean? Because I hadn't fought in 5 years. So,
although you had this amazing amateur record, Peter, what was Nobby's game putting you in at the deep end right away? Didn't he see a prospect in you?
I don't know really. I don't know because like I didn't know. Look, so I didn't know where a journeyman was. When I first started boxing, I didn't do it just to survive, and I went to win my fights and that. And look, so it took me a few fights to get back into it, and I was doing okay. And that, do you know what I mean? I won 2 Midland titles, and I fought for a WBA Intercontinental title abroad in Austria against an unbeaten kid who's 15 or 16 and 0. Do you know what I mean? And actually put the kid over, and I had him out the last 3 rounds, but I was never going to get a decision over there. Do you know what I mean? He probably did beat me on points, but it was a closer fight than what the scorecard said. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. To explain to the audience and also to John, a journeyman, Peter, what would you, because I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn sometimes when I say the word journeyman, Peter. So to explain to the people, what would you class as a journeyman?
Oh, look, I say when I first started, I wasn't a journeyman. I grew into that role after, I was going to fight people, say, in Scotland and places like that, and I wasn't getting the decisions when I should have, I thought. So basically, Nobby had said to me, look, you can go up to Scotland tonight and you can try as hard as you want. You probably won't get the decision. Or you can go up there and treat like a spar and come away with no marks there, earn a few quid. A journeyman's someone who goes in, a good journeyman anyway, goes in, is competitive, but knows that, he knows how to get through the rounds without using as much energy as he has. Like I say, I had fights when I was called up. I'd been on the piss the night before, and they'd phone me the next morning, there's a fight going. I mean, once, one Friday night, I'd been out in the day, I had a few drinks, and I think it was Brian Peters phoned me up, and he said to me, we do want to fight in Dublin? I said, when? He said, tomorrow. He said, but you got to get the plane over this afternoon. I said, yeah, all right. I'd had a few beers, but so I went to the airport, he booked me a ticket and that. I flew over, I boxed one of the Island brothers, can't remember which one it was. Boxed him. I went over on my own, you say. I went over, they looked after me, boxed him, had a 4-rounder or a 6-rounder, I can't remember what it was. Just got through the rounds, didn't get hurt a few quid, do you know what I mean? And I treated it, boxing was my job in the end, do you know what I mean? That was my living, that's how I made my money, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how it was.
Yeah, so having 300 fights, Peter John's had a white collar fight himself, and for a lot of people, it's a massive achievement. It's a big thing.
Yeah,
it's something I always wonder about how you can sustain fighting. Because what was the most fights you had back to back?
I had 29 one season. In one season, yeah. I should have had 30, but I had the flu one weekend, so I didn't fight. But yeah, I had 29 in one season. Like say, I treated it as a job, so it's like if you don't go to work, you don't get paid. So I like going to work them days. You know what I mean? So I never ever said no to a fight. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know how to say no. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I done.
So Peter, sorry, Jazz, did you never really have like a true passion for boxing? As such, you never had like a dream to go out and, follow a certain path and win titles and.
Well, when I first started, titles were. I just thought it was because I just got out the nick of that. I thought I'll have a few fights, just stay out of trouble. Do you know what I mean? If someone had said to me, "I'd have 300," you'll have 300 fight mates, I would look to like the palmer. But like say, I would. I did want to win. Like one time, I boxed Alan McKay, who'd beat Colin McMillan a bet on a cut eye, but there was talk of him having a Commonwealth title fight, a British title fight. And I went down to the Albert Hall one day, and I had a little bit of notice, you know what I mean? And I boxed him over 8 threes, and they give it a draw. Well, I thought I beat him, do you know what I mean? And I had 12 draws on my record. That was 12 wins because none of them was in my hometown, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I've had 100 plus fights where I've lost by a point, where if that would have been in my hometown, I would have got them decisions and my record would have been brilliant, do you know what I mean? But it don't look as good. But looks like I've been stopped 10 times, but I can honestly only 5 of them was legit. The other 5 weren't, do you know what I mean? No chance. But looks like there was talk at one time, but so I got a little good run together, won the Midland title and that, and beat a few good kids. I beat Matt Brown, I stopped him in a round. He fought for the British title twice at super featherweight and lightweight. Got beat on points by, I think it might have been Charlie Shepherd. But I stopped him in a round, and it was a legit stop me, do you know what I mean? I genuinely stopped him. And looks like a lot of journeymen didn't have KOs on the road. I had 8, but I put a good few people over in my time, do you know what I mean? So I always knew how to fight, do you know what I mean? But sometimes it was like, do I go up there, like, you know, like say last minute, 50% fit. So you don't fight for 3 minutes for each round. You fight for a minute and you fuck them about a bit and you do this and that. You know what I mean? You know the score.
So to become a journeyman, do you find yourself in that position? Do you find yourself someone who's called upon, who they know will fight like last minute? So before you know it, you find yourself in this, hang about, this is my role now, this is what I do, and it's regular work, and you're happy without massive pressure, I suppose. Is that what it feels like?
Well, yeah, because, like I say, the times I did fight at home, and had to sell tickets, it was a pain in the arse, man. Everyone wants a ticket off you, but you got to get the money off them before the fight, because after the fight, they don't want to get paid you. Do you know what I mean? But I found it a pain in the arse. I mean, like when I had my Midland title fights, I sold tickets to that, and I had a good crowd come and see, you know, I'm well known around my area, and I had a good crowd come and see me, but I drive it just took the pressure off. Like, I thought, I'll go on the road now. I ain't got no pressure on me. You know, win, lose or draw, you know, so it goes, and I'm still getting paid at the end of the day. Looks like I was sitting in the house loads of times, and Nobby had just put up, bib the horn. Looks like I always had my kit done. my kit was always done. I'd come out from my fight, and Mr. had washed my stuff, it'd be in the bag, ready for next week. So Nobby just pulled up and bib the horn and said, I'd lean out, what? There's a fight going where in London? Come on. I wouldn't even ask who it was. I'd just get out and jump in the car on the way. That's how my fights are. So he was ABA champion or Commonwealth Games. Yeah, okay, yeah. And honestly, I knew how to look after myself, do you know what I mean?
There's got a good few questions written down, Peter, from different fighters here, what we can ask at the end. But one of the most asked questions was about Nobby. What was Nobby like?
Nobby, see, I knew Nobby. See, Nobby used to work the doors in Birmingham, you see, years ago. So I didn't know him well, but I knew of him because, like, when I used to go up the town and that, to the clubs that he used to work at, you know, I knew who he was. He didn't know who I was, like. But Nobby he looked after his people. Some people say he didn't. I disagree. He always had his fighters' welfare at heart, and he always tried to get you the best deal. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I've got a lot of time. I mean, I still speak to him now. I mean, I've been retired nearly 13 years now. I still phone him up and we have a chat and that. And like before this pandemic, he'd come over and we'd go out for a meal and that. I've always gone with Nobby really good. He's always looked after me, you know what I mean? I've got nothing but praise for Nobby. But
does he have a beep outside your house to say, have you got your kit ready? We're off to London.
not anymore. No. He knows my kit's looking fucked up now. But Nobby always looked after me, you know what I mean? He never forced you. He'd never phone you up and say, you're fighting to it. He'd say, there's a fight going, or if he pulled up outside, he'd never say no, do you know what I mean? So he'd say to me, Pete, there's 2 fights going next week. There's an hard one or an easy one. All I'd say was, which one's paid the most money, do you know what I mean?
Really?
And sometimes them hard fights would be easy fights because the better kid, I've said it before, the better person I used to box, the better it was for me, because I used to hate boxing novice kids because you didn't know where there was. I'd rather box a well-schooled kid. Like, I boxed Davey Burke twice. Really good kid, Davey Burke. Like, big kids, Davey Burke. Really good kid. The first time I boxed him, quite an easy fight. The second time I boxed him, I think he put me over twice in the first round. I've come back at the end of the round. Nobby's gone to me, what are you doing there on the floor? I said, fucking hell, man. I said, he's awkward. He's going, well, you boxed him before. He said, just start again and get through the rounds. Just keep coming back to the corner. And that's what I did. And in the end, got through the fight, do you know what I mean? But Nobby he looked after me, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So when I turned over professional, Peter, I've been boxing on the international scene for years. So I was fighting I-class fighters who think. So when you feint them, they feint back, and it's 2 feints before 1 punch. When I turned pro, I turned a feint, and the guy didn't move.
Yeah.
I thought, what the fuck?
Yeah. Because like I say, you've been boxing class kids, that's why, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, is the how can I say it? Is the fights that you fight a kid, a young kid who thinks he's the bollocks, and the back of your mind you think, oh, it's fucking I could do this 10 days a week.
Yeah, look, I mean, once Oliver Harrison, right, God rest him, right, he said to me once, I was in Belfast once, it was in Belfast, and he said to me, Pete, there's a fight going in a few weeks. I've got this kid, he's green as grass. He said, but he sells a few tickets, right? He said, will you have a move about it? He said, no, I'll sort you out. Maybe give me an extra few quid, right? So I'd forgot about it, right? And on the Saturday, I went out on the piss with my mates, right? And I was a bit hungover. Next day, Andy Mayers, who was a trainer for Nobby, phoned me up for 11 in the morning. He's gone, Pete, I'll pick you up at so-and-so. And I went, what for? He said, remember, you got that fight? I said, oh, fuck's sake, I forgot. I said, I've been out on the piss, right? So I feel terrible, man. So I went there. I went down to, I don't know, somewhere like Oldham or something like that. Box this kid, green as grass the kid was. And Oliver said to me, Pete, have a move, mate. But I was like, yeah, he didn't know I'd been on the piss, right? How I passed the doctor, I don't know. So I've got in there and I've hit the kid with a left hook the first round. His fucking legs have gone all over the place. And Oliver's like, Peter, come on. And I'm like, yeah. So after the fight, like, he sorted me out and that. But that was like, you know, it was just, I've done loads of things like, you know, I had loads of movabouts with kids.
Is the point, Peter, where you find yourself sometimes on top, but you know this guy sells a lot of tickets, and if you do beat him, it's not going to be good for you, and you have to take your foot off the gas?
Loads of times, like I say, if a trainer said to me, look, Pete, have a move about with this kid. We're going to give you an extra few quid, right? I wouldn't like turn them over then. And then look, because the thing is, right, I was well respected at Olympics trainers, and they'd say to me, Pete, have a move about this kid. We want to see what he's like. So, but they'd say to me, open up and like, you know, let him know what it's all about. Do you know what I mean? So if the kid was being a bit too cocky, I'd let a good few shots go, or, you know, or let the kid think again. And then after the trainer would say, don't forget, the kid never knew about I was having a move out of him. Only me and his trainer. The kid never knew. They never told the kid, oh, look, this kid's having a move out of you. So after the trainer said, oh, Pete, that was nice one. Give me an extra drink and that, do you know what I mean? And I've done that a few times. That's why I got plenty of work, do you know what I mean? Because I wouldn't take the piss. But if I was boxing someone, it was a genuine fight, I'd have a go, do you know what I mean? But like I say, sometimes I know I was on the look. It's still a journeyman, right? You're 2 rounds down before you start, do you know what I mean? You really are. And I've gone into loads of places. I've boxed, I fought a boy, lost by half a point, lost by, nothing like for fuck's sake, but there's no point going mad at the referees, right? And calling them, Nobby used to fucking go mad at them and say, you fucking, and give them an eye test and things like that. He was mad like that. But I never used to, because the thing was, I'd be seeing that referee the week after, because I guarantee you, I knew all the refs anyway, so, you know what I mean?
Well, sorry, Jazz, go on.
I was in the gym, Peter, with Georgie Vaughan today. Georgie Vaughan said his regards.
Yeah, tell me hello, yeah.
He said that he boxed you with every fighter he had, and sometimes he would say, I think it might have been Tony Mulholland.
Tony, yeah.
He said, don't go mad. And at the end, he said there was something in him. He tried it on with Peter, and he said, you step back and give him 8 stitches in the last round.
Yeah, I boxed Tony twice, actually, he said.
He said the same thing happens in 2 fights. He tried it on, and it kept him honest.
Yeah, I boxed Tony on a Nassim bill once, and we were supposed to be on first, and there was a flow to them, right? So I think we got in the ring about fucking 12:30 at night then, do you know what I mean? And it was cut from 8 rounds to 4, still got the same money, and to me, it was just a move out, but like, when he tried, but yeah, he was all right, Tony was, nice kid.
So somebody on the road, Peter, like yourself, was it good? Did you hope to be a floater, or would that be a pain in the ass for you as well?
Yeah, no, floater was a pain in the ass, because, see, if I was on first, I'd fuck off home then, do you know what I mean? And I'd watch the boxing on the telly when I got home, do you know what I mean? And, you know, that's that. My ideal night, when I was on a big show like that, was sometimes I start the show early, 5 o'clock and that. To me, I'd love to be on first. It didn't bother me if there was a crowd there or not, no, whatever. Fight, fuck off home, you know what I mean? Get a few beers and watch the boxing, do you know what I mean?
Peter, like regarding fitness and stuff, were you constantly training all the time? Or would you just wait for a phone call? Or were you just a natural bruiser that you could just go and fight whenever?
No, I'll tell you one thing, right? I was always 50, what I've always done, no matter what. I went over the gym sometimes 2-3 times a week. But what I've done every day, I ran every day. Every single day I ran. My tracksuit was at the end of my bed. I ran all the time. Because like, to me, as long as I've done my running, I was fit, do you know what I mean?
Didn't work, yeah.
Yeah, like I say, even when I packed in boxing, I was still running for a while. Therefore, what am I doing this for? I don't really need to, but I still have the odd run. But I was not being, I mean, I've done a 10-rounder at a day's notice, do you know what I mean? Twice on 2 occasions.
Wow.
And I wasn't on weight, but once I fought Cole Greaves for his Masters title. I don't know what happened to the kid he was.
Sorry,
there we go. We lost
yeah,
you.
so I just rang my
Then,
missus. Yeah. Like I say, I've done a 10-rounder against Cole Greaves at a day's notice. And I was supposed to be 9-4, but I was about 9-8. And we had done the 10 rounds. I had a good 10 rounds with Cole, no problem. And after he said to me, Cole, he went, "You weren't fucking 9 stone 4." I said, "No, I weren't." I said, "But I saved your fucking show." And he was like, "Yeah." Cole always said to me, "You always give me a hard fight every time you box me." Cole said, "You always tried against me." You know, our styles just mixed, like, you know what I mean? Like I say, I could hold my own with, like I say, I boxed quite a few European champions, and I boxed Francis Benatou once. And someone sent me the fight not long ago, a few months ago, and he was IBF champion, European champion, and I boxed him. And I'm telling you straight, if you watch the fight, you can't tell who's the champion and who's the thing, because there was nothing in the fight, nothing in it. He couldn't hit me. He said to me after, "I couldn't hit you on the cheek with his broken French. I couldn't hit you there." I was like, "Yeah, I know, mate. I know you couldn't." But see, after I went the distance with Nazim, everyone was trying to better Nazim. Do you know what I mean? Like, I boxed Spencer Oliver and on a big show, and he dropped me with the biggest right hand. He's like, "You think Fury got dropped when he boxed Don?" So when I got dropped, you ever look at it on YouTube? I got dropped. I'm spread eagled on the thing, and I look at it, I think, "How the fuck did I get up off that?" But I got up, and I had a good fight with him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, when you go into these fights, Peter, so sometimes could your pride get the better of you and think, "I'm going to win this cunt"?
Yeah. Like I say, there was nothing like said about having a move about, or, you know, about whatever. I'd fucking, I'd try, yeah. Like I boxed Kevin Lear, who beat Michael Gomez, and actually put him down, right? And there was, you know, I had a go. If I thought I was in the chance of winning, I'd have a go, yeah. Especially if someone was taking the piss, like with me, like thinking, trying to pot shot me. Fuck that. You didn't do that to me, mate. You didn't show me up, do you know what I mean? So I'd have a rat. Even if I weren't winning the fight, I'd always let them know I was in the fight at some point, so they couldn't take the piss, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I often say to the young lads coming through, I say, "You don't understand it," because people just throw it about, don't they? "I was just a journeyman, don't worry."
Yeah.
I always say to them, this guy you're fighting, he could be having a terrible night with his missus.
Exactly, yeah.
Did you ever have that, Peter? No, say personal, but did you ever think, "I'm having a bad day, I'm gonna knock him out"?
Yeah, fucking loads of times. I'd like, you know, yeah, I'd get out for, I want a fucking row tonight, man, do you know what I mean? Because, you know, I want to fucking, you know, I want to legalise fight here, man, because I don't want to fight in the streets, so I'm going to get nicked. But, yeah, I think sometimes, like, fuck off, man. So I boxed Sean Hughes. Sean Hughes, like, not, I wasn't pissed off with Sean, but I'd had a bit of a day, like, do you know what I mean? I can't remember where it was, but I'd been on one. And we got in the fight, like, and I fucking dropped him with a shot. And he turned around, he actually said to me before he went, "Fucking hell, I didn't know you could bang like that." He said, "I thought I was just going to walk in and have a room out." I said, "Oh, well, you fucking fought wrong, like, do you know what I mean?" And we had a good row, and I got a draw. But I thought I beat him, and he went on to fight for the British Super Bantamweight title and that. So I had skills, do you know what I mean? And I had a good amateur record, a good amateur pedigree. I knew my way around the ring, do you know what I mean?
like, I mean, I haven't got a massive knowledge of boxing, but what I'm getting from you is that most fights that you went in, you sound like you've been in control. And like, did you ever look back and think, "I've held my own against some like real good fighters here who've went off to be really successful and stuff"? Do you ever get a frustration inside you thinking, "Maybe I should have went down that path"?
I do and I don't, because the thing is, right, if I would have just say I would have stayed amateur, right, I wouldn't have signed with Nobby, right? Say I would have won an ABA title, right, and I would have signed with someone else. Say if I would have fought for the British title, won, lost, drew, whatever, and I wouldn't have carried on, because there's a British champion there. I don't think he'd carry on, but I wouldn't go into a journeyman role if he was a British champion. And that. So people always say to me, "Would you change anything?" I wouldn't change a thing. Do you know what I mean? All the losses, blah, blah. I know that I'm not punchy and that. Do you know what I mean? I'm still sharp, and you know I wouldn't change it. I've been all around. You know, I've been over Europe, fought in Europe, and that. I've topped the bill in Europe. I fought an Argentinian who was a former world super flyweight champion or challenger. I was top of the bill in Germany boxing him, and like didn't like to come out without a mark on me. That was my mission, you see, to go into a fight. I come out without a mark on me, you know what I mean? And 9 times out of 10, I done okay.
So what a journeyman does, I suppose, they find a role in that industry, doing what they enjoy doing without the pressure. But you've got regular work.
That's right, yeah.
Because I know, like, speaking to boxers and stuff, they'll build up, and if they drop back down, it's hard to get back up there mentally and, just publicly, you know what I mean? So with you can just turn up, not ask, see you later.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I didn't give a fuck, you know what I mean? But look, say, I had pride, don't get me wrong, right? I went in there and I would just stand the ropes, get beat up, fuck that.
Yeah, of course,
and you watch a lot of my fights. I'm really, look, say, I was a bit of a hothead when I was younger outside the ring, obviously. I was leading a lot of trouble in that. But in the ring, I never panicked. You can watch I'll never panic in none of my fights, even when I've been stopped. I'm still out. I mean, I box at Alessio Freitas or a day's notice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was down in Liverpool. And when I come down there, Gary Fornell, who I boxed a few times, nice kid Gary, he said to me, he said, Pete, you boxing that Brazilian kid? I went, oh yeah, Sam. He said, he's fucking big, mate. I said, yeah, he's a. And like I said, I've said it before. When I hadn't saw him at the weigh-in because I weighed in the day when I got there. He weighed in the day before, and I didn't know nothing about him. And I'm in the ring, and he's come out to the fucking big fanfare. And I said to Nobby, "Is that him?" Nobby went, "Yeah." I went, "Fucking hell, he's big, he's man." So I was a Korea super bantamweight. I was, do you know what I mean? But he got in the ring and then read out his record: 18 fights, 80 knockouts. And I went, "Fucking hell, this is a nice one here, isn't it?" And I'd done 3 rounds with him, and then Nobby pulled me out because he was just too big for me. I weren't going to fiddle my way for 8 rounds. But in Ring Magazine, he'd done an interview before, and he said the best defensive boxer he's boxed was Peter Buckley. Now, for him to say that about me, that's great to me, I think. Do you know what I mean?
One thing I always wonder, Peter, to go on the road, do you have to work on your defence, or is that come natural? Is it easier to survive?
Look, say there's ways to survive, right? Like you can cover up, but I used to use a ring. I used to walk around, hit them in the bollocks, tap, walk them back. You just learn these tricks. Look, as a bricklayer, builder, you learn tricks as you go along, experience. I didn't first start and had a great defence and all that. I've always been quite slippery anyway, but you just learn, and I learned from the people. I mean, I used to Paul Ramsey and Mark Ramsey. They box for England, ABA champions and everything. They come to our gym. I mean, Mark Ramsey gave Ricky Hatton 2 of his hardest fights early on in his career. I used to spar with people like that. And I learned from them. Paul Wesley fought for the British title. You spar with him. Brian Coleman, who had 190 odd fights, you spar with him. We all learnt off each other in our gym, you know what I mean? A lot of people say, oh, no, I learnt off you. I learnt off them. It worked both ways, do you know what I mean? We're all one-way traffic. I pick tricks off them, do you know what I
mean? You told me the other day, Peter, when I fought Christian Late, who was a well-respected journeyman himself.
Yeah.
I remember a moment you said you were in Christian's corner, wasn't you?
I took him in, against you.
So there was a point in the fight when Christian hit me, and it was like he tapped me, and then he looked at me to check if I was all right, and it always played on my mind, and I thought, was he told not to hit me? Do you know what I mean? So
he weren't told not to hurt you, but what it was with Christian weren't really a puncher, you say. He wasn't. I don't think he ever scored a knockdown in any of his fights or anything, do you know what I mean? But I remember he come back to the corner and you was hitting him with some good body shots, right? And I said to him, because Christian he knew his way around the ring, and he was always in good shape, Christian, do you know what I mean? And he was a lot bigger than you know what I mean? And I said to him, you got to fucking walk him back, hold him, tie him up side to side. Don't let him get into a rhythm, because you was good when you got into a rhythm. I'd watched you box a few times, you know what I mean? And so you didn't know me, but I knew you at the time. And I said to Christian, don't let this kid get into a rhythm, because he's going to be hard not to beat, because he weren't going to beat you. He didn't come to beat you. I said, but you get into it, it's going to make it hard for yourself. And he was hurting with some body shots. And I said to him, walk him back to the ropes, hold him, tie him up, don't give him space. And he was fucking you about a bit. You was getting a bit frustrated then, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember it, yeah.
Yeah, well, at the time, Pete, I definitely knew who you was. But the conversation you have with the manager before it, when you've got a young kid coming through and you don't want him to get hurt, is there a conversation, or do you just know the dance and that's that?
Yeah, I'd say 70%, yeah, you know the dance, yeah, do you know what I mean? So you know the score. But like I say, there's been times where, like I said earlier, people have asked me to have a move out as a favour, but other times no. And I'm boxing ABA champion, Nothing's mentioned about having a move about then. So they're coming. They want to come out and they want to make a statement by stopping Peter Buckley, which, you know, it's like Spencer Oliver. He tried to take my head off because he knew I'd been the distance with Nazim. Everyone I fought after I boxed Nazim. Never got boxed Nazim twice. You know, everyone thought I'd say no to the second one. Well, I'll fucking box him again, no problem, right? You know what I mean? How much? You know what I mean? So I boxed him, and if you look at that stoppage, bullshit, man, he never hurt me or nothing. He was beating me, obviously, do you know what I mean? Fucking the bollocks, really. But he didn't hurt me once. He didn't hurt. I never saw stars. He never had me on the floor. He didn't even buzz me. And I'm not talking shit. He didn't buzz me. He hit me. If you look at the second fight, he's hit me with a jab, my head snaps back. And I thought the referee was telling me, because a little bit before that, I threw a shot, my elbow come across. I thought the ref was warning me for that. And I looked at the ref and he's put his hands up like that. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I was going mad. And that said to me after, I went, that's fucking bullshit. And he went, I was going to beat you anyway. I said, yeah, but you weren't fucking stopping me. I said, you weren't having me on my arse. Do you know what I mean? And he was like, yeah, but, you know, I got on with Naz, actually. He was all right. Because I knew before, if you watch the first fight with Naz, I don't get in the ring till he gets in the ring. He comes in dancing, that right? And I'm just sitting outside the ring. And Nobby's going, you getting in the ring? I said, I'm a fuck. I said, let him get in first. So he's got to the top. So he's got to the top rope. He's looked about. He didn't flip over. He just stepped through the rope. Do you know what I mean? Because I knew Naz because he used to come to a lot of the shows with Brendan back in the day. And I had a good mate who was a boxer called Norman Dahl. He was an Arab as well. And he was from the Yemen. And him and Naz used to talk. And he was saying to my mate Norman at a show before he boxed me, what's Buckley like? My mate said, fuck off, Peter's my mate. Do you know what I mean? He said, you ain't going to stop Peter. And, you know, and he fucking didn't either. Do you know what I mean? But when Naz I boxed Naz, he'd stopped everyone. I weren't scared to get in the ring with him. To me, I'd boxed a lot better people. I'd boxed Duke McKenzie, who to me was the bollocks, you know what I mean?
So, Peter, if you were giving advice to the younger lads who made the choice to go on the road, what would that be?
Mate, I'd say to make sure you're fit anywhere or are fit, right? You know what I mean? But to earn as much dough as you can without getting hurt, that's what it's all about, do you know what I mean? Because you ain't going to get a decision even if you try your heart out. So just, you got to know how to survive, and you got to be able to know how to fire back as well, because you can't just stand. You won't have a long career if you just stand the ropes getting pummeled. Do you know what I mean? So a good journeyman like William Warburton, Kevin McCauley, and that, they know how to fire back and that. I mean, William Warburton's retired now, but he pulled the odd good upset every now and again. Do you know what I mean?
Is there ever a point, Peter, where you're facing like the referee might be looking or stepping in, and you know it? Is it ever safer to try and knock the guy out than it is instead of taking the loss yourself and therefore getting a 28-day suspension? Is it 28 days? Yeah,
28 days. Yeah. Oh. A journeyman does not want a 28-day suspension, do you know what I mean? Because you can't earn it. Yeah. But looks like if it was ever getting really hard, right, you know, you're getting a bit overwhelmed. Take a knee, man, do you know what I mean? You've got to either take a knee or you got to start firing back, do you know what I mean? I remember once I boxed, I can't think of his name now, Andrews. I think what was his name? He was an ABA champion. I boxed him up London on a dinner show. Big kid. And he's hit me, but he's caught me. And the thumb's caught me in the eye.
Yeah.
Fucking. So I had to take a knee to, like, you know, because I knew it was near the end of the round. But I took a knee, you know what I mean? Took the count. I wasn't going to beat the kid anyway. But it just got me through enough to get back to the corner, to get me eye wiped a bit of that. And then I had another 2 rounds. I got through it, you know what I mean? Looks like a good journeyman, you know, just about going in there and there to survive. You got to have heart, do you know what I mean? You got no heart, there's no point fucking being in there, do you know what I mean? You got to know how to fire back as well, you know what I mean? You can't be overwhelmed, you know.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people do go on the road, don't they? And they think, oh, it'll be easy, but they ended up just getting it eyed every week, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, I thought, look, you know what? Not everyone said to me, oh, I wouldn't mind being a German. Everyone can't be. It's hard, man, Joe. It's a hard game. You got to be thick-skinned as well, because, like I say, when you are getting it, you know, you put your heart in that night, you fucking really had to go, and you lose by half a point. You think, fucking hell, man. You know, it disheartens you. You think, fucking hell. But you got to be thick-skinned as well. But you've got to know how to fight. Not everyone can be a journeyman. It's special breeds to be a journeyman. It's like special breed to be a champion. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's the opposite end of it, but it's the same heart, if you know what I mean.
Peter, can I ask, what did you do? What did you do after you retired? And did you miss it?
I didn't miss it because, believe it or not, when I had 292 fights, I actually packed it in. that was it. I was like, I weren't boxing no more. And I went to a show in Scotland. Tommy Gilmore put me on the top table. My mate was fighting for a Masters title. So I went up there. Tommy probably don't even remember this. But I was up there. Had a few drinks and blah, blah. And Tommy said to me, how many fights did you have, Pete? I said, 292. He said, oh, you should have had 8 more and had 300. And I went, yeah, you know what? So I had a few beers. At the end of the night, I said to my Nobby, who's there, like my mate, Tony Anna, I said, no, but I'm going to have 8 more fights. But Nobby's gym was coming to a close, you see. He had enough of it. And he said, oh, yeah. I said, yeah. So what I'd done, because his gym closed down then, because I left it a few weeks, I phoned Errol Johnson up. I knew Errol quite well. And I said to Errol, will you match me up? I won 8 fights. I want to get to 300. He's gone, yeah, okay, yeah. So I think I had 8 fights in about 8 weeks, something like that. But my last but 299 fight was against Lee Selby. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, I mean, I knew Lee was a good kid. I mean, he couldn't really punch then, but he was sharp as fuck. I thought, fucking hell. And I knew it was coming to an end, because I was boxing some other kids who weren't that good. I was getting caught with little silly shots, and they was hurting a bit more than they used to. And, it's time, I think it's time to call it a day. And I thought 300 would be a good fucking way to go out. So that's what I'd done. And I had my own fight, my last fight in my hometown. I got a win. And that was it. Everyone was saying, oh, you're going to have another fight? And I was like, no, that's it now. Game's over. It's done. So what I'd done then, I had Oakley. When I was with Nobby, I also had a seconds license. So I used to take people in to fight. So when I packed in, I had a bit of an amateur gym with someone for a bit, for about 18 months. But I didn't have my amateur trainer's license. The guys I was doing kept saying, oh, I'll send you down to so-and-so to get you. I was like, yeah, but he was talking shit. But I had my pro trainer's license. And then Sid Razak, who was a journeyman with John Peck. Yeah, you know Sid. Well, Sid company was coming down my gym. And Sid said to me, oh, Pete, I want a bit of a change. He said, you start training me and taking me to fights. And I went, yeah, all right. So I fucked the amateur club off then because I fell out with the geezer a bit. And I started using the gym just around the corner from my house, like MMA gym and all that. I used to take the fighters on the pads there and that, charge them a few quid. And I was taking Sid to fight, but I said to Sid, you got to get your weight down, Sid, because he was too heavy. So he got his weight down. He actually pulled a few. He scored a few wins under me. Do you know what I mean? He was doing all right. But then he didn't know how to walk past McDonald's without going in, Sid. He loved it, you know what I mean? And I took him down to Liverpool one day and he boxed Joe Tonks. And Joe was unbeaten there. And he beat Joe. And then
was that in the Olympia?
Olympia, that's right, yeah. Olympia, yeah. And he beat Joe, and then he boxed. Errol said to me, I want him to box one of my lads. And I said, well, he's going to come to win, like, do you know what I mean? He's going, yeah. Well, this kid, Errol he had about 4 fights. Won them all, but he had about 3 stoppages. But Sid stopped him in the first round. And then I took Sid over to Belfast one day. And because he was really laid back, Sid wasn't. He was always late. If I told him to come train at 4, he'd come at 5. So the trick was with Sid, I used to always say, come at 3 o'clock, and he'd come about 4 o'clock, do you know what I mean? Just how he was. So the one day he was boxing in Belfast, and we had to be at the airport for like 9 o'clock in the morning. So fucking 7:30, 7:45, come on, ringing him, no answer now. I'm thinking, fucking hell. But I knew what he was like. Next thing, he's rang me about 4:15. I'm on my way, Pete. I said, we're going to be fucking late. No, we'll be all right. That's how he was. Got to the airport, the call yard, we checked in, the call yard name for the plane. I'm like, fucking hell. Got on the plane. I said to him, you look a bit heavy, Sid. I'm a little bit, he had to be 10 stone. He was about 10.5. I went, oh, for fuck's sake. No, we got to Belfast now. And I said, I'm going in the cafe. He said, I'll come with you. I said, you can't eat fuck all. I said, you weigh in a bit. No, I'll just have some beans. I said, no, you're not having nothing. So he weighed in, he was 10 stone 5, and he was boxing this kid who was about 10.3 then. So they couldn't really moan about £2 anyway. So he's only stopped the kid in the second round, right, or the first round. And I'm like, fuck. And he's gone to me, try and get some extra money off them. I said, what for? He said, just try. I went, you come in ever, you've knocked him fucking out, they're going to give us no money. Do you know what I mean? But Sid was a good lad, but towards the end of his boxing, he stopped coming training a bit and he was got overweight, but he was always a game kid. That's why me and him got on, because, the one day he's pulled up at my house, he's gone, Pete, bid me. Same. That's why I liked his mentality. He bid me. He's gone, Pete, come on. I said, where are we going? He said, Edinburgh. I said, fucking Edinburgh. He said, yeah, I've got a fight up there. So I've jumped in the car. I've drove all the way up there, about 6 hours. But they told him he'd be first on, and as good as gold, he got up there. He boxed, lost on points, and I drove back. So we were back in the house for about 12 o'clock on the night. You know what I mean?
Wow. in that situation, Pete, I suppose where you're saying putting the weight on, you must have been a bit like a jockey where you had to make the weight all the time because it can be dangerous going up weight, can't it?
Yeah, like I say, the heaviest I ever boxed. I just come back off holiday. I've been on holiday for 2 weeks, and I come back on the Friday, and Nobby phoned me up. You got a good holiday? I went, yeah. Did you eat much? I said, yeah. Drink much? I said, yeah. Do any running? I said, yeah. I've done a couple of runs. Yeah, went swimming tomorrow. He says, a fight going tomorrow. I said, yeah. He said, what's your weight? I was somewhere about 10.7. He went, that'll be all right. He said, you fighting? Do you know Gary Wilcombe? I went, yeah. I said, in the light middleweight. He said, oh, he's a big welterweight. So I went down to York or boxed him. He was fucking massive. I think he was a 4 or 6 rounder. Easy. I've done the distance with him easy. Do you know what I mean? And so the money I got for that paid for my holiday, really. So it was all right.
Happy days. That's fucking brilliant.
When you say, Peter, like you're coming towards the end, do you feel changes in the body when you're saying the fighters hurt a bit more? What's the change? I say, I was getting hit with silly shots sometimes that I never would have hit me. I would have slipped them and that, and I was just aching a bit more and that, like more than I was 39 when I packed. I've been doing it for 19 years, so wear and tear on your body. Even though I never really took no beatings, but you're still getting hit week in week out. Has a bit of an effect on you. But like I say, the week before my last fight, all my brain scans and all that was due. So when I had all my brain scans done, they all come back. If anything, if I would have all my brain scans, I've never had one alteration in all the years. So they all come back positive, sound. So I knew I was okay. This kid in my last fight, I knew he was nothing. I drew with him a few weeks before, so I knew he weren't going to beat me, and I knew he couldn't punch. So it was a nice way to go out, knowing that all my brain scans come back good, and it was a good time to go out. Plus I got a win, and that was it. And people said, "Oh, you could have another fight." I was like, "Nah," because funny enough, about a month after my last fight, someone phoned me up, and there was an Arab kid. He boxed at gym mate of mine called Cole Taylor. I can't remember his name, but they offered me a fight in Dubai against him, and it was good money. And I went like, I said to my missus, "Oh," she went, "No." I said, "Yeah." She went, no, it's not. I went, "Okay." So she said, "If you had one, what are you going to do then? What 350 fights?" So I said, "No, yeah, you're right." So that was, it's a good job I had a lot because she was sensible, and I didn't, I've got fucking 4 grandkids now who I play with, and take them out, take them, one does taekwondo, the one to get into boxing, I'd be 100% behind him, but, whatever they want to do, I'm back them all the way, you know what I mean?
What did you enjoy most about it, P? I mean, was it the travelling or was it the buzz of the arenas? What was it that you enjoyed the most?
I used to just love having a fight, man, and
you one of them?
I loved having a fight, yeah. I loved having a fight. And to get paid for it was just great, do you know what I mean? It's like when I was younger, I was a tearaway, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I enjoyed the fight.
Would you have been a football hooligan if you weren't doing what you were doing?
No, you know what?
Because a lot of them just have a fight on the weekend. That's the only reason why they do it, Tony.
Yeah. No, I was never really into the football. A lot of my mates, I've got a few mates into the football, they used to go down the matches, have around that. That weren't really for me, because to me, if you're having a fight, I like to straighten a one-on-one. Exactly. Don't get paid, not that, but anyone can be hard with 500 people behind them, do you know what I mean? You see them all at the matches, you know what I mean? You see kids, I know kids around my area, give it the bigger ones who've had a drink with all the mates, see them on their own, their arse and flap, do you know what I mean? So, but I used to like our gym, I used to like going up the gym, it was like a family more, do you know what I mean? I got on with a lot of them, it was all good mates, good atmosphere in our gym, we all treated each other with respect. And we never took the piss out of each other, So, I used to look. I mean, some of us would go down to a show sometimes. There'd be 6 of us on the bill in Liverpool, and places like that. Nobby would have the one side, the night, you'd have 6 fighters on. We'd all go down there. We'd all, win, lose, or draw. Never got hurt. We'd all come back. We'd go out for a drink after in town and that together. We was all good mates,
Yeah.
One thing you said before, P, about the brain scan. I've had 10 brain scans now.
Yeah.
I shit myself every time I'm going. What was it like for you going?
I used to shit myself to go. I used to go in there. I'd be nervous. When you're in the having the scan and you're there, and you try and keep as still as you can. You think if I move a little bit, it's going to come back like there's a movement. Like fucking shitting yourself. But and then that week after I had my brain scan, I'd be nervous till I got the results. Yeah, I'd be thinking, fucking hell. So if this comes back, I've got a movement, or I've got, because at the time I thought if I get a movement or a failure, I'm going to have to pack it in. And I wasn't ready to pack it in, do you know what I mean? Then it's like, I packed boxing on my terms, on no one else's. So that was good. That was great for me because I was never told, right, you got to stop now because you've had this many losses or your brain scan's failed now. I went out as I wanted to go out. I went out on a win in my hometown, knowing all my medicals was perfect. So it was great for me, that was. I chose the time to pack it in, no one else.
Yeah, I heard stories, Pete, that the Boxing Board of Control get on your case if you haven't had a win for a while. Do they ever get on your case and say you need a win here?
I've never really had that. What it is, I remember once I was in Belfast and I boxed a kid called Stephen Hanagratius with that big kid welterweight, and Charlie Giles, who's like the boxing board and that. I know Charlie quite well, and before the fight, he just said to me, "You gonna have a go tonight?" And I went, "Yeah, I am, yeah." And he was like, "All right." So I knew that they never really had me in the pool with that, but I knew he was looking to see how I was. So I had probably about 200 fights and more. So I had a good fight, and he said to me after, "You boxed well tonight, Pete." I said, "Oh, thanks." He went, "Because I heard your last fight weren't very good." I was like, "You know what, Joel? I've been on the piss," and he was like, "Fair enough." Yeah, I was just being honest. People said I'd been out, took the fight at short notice. He said, "No, you boxed well tonight." I said, "Oh, thanks." So I know they used to have a little look at me, but they never used to pull me in and say, "If you don't get a win, son, blah blah." Do you know what I mean? It was okay because there's ways to lose. You say, as bad as it sounds. You can lose by getting battered, or you can lose by losing, by coming second, as I always say, right? I've came second. I've lost, but I've came second, so I wasn't really out the fight, if you know what I mean. I've given as good as I got without getting the win. Do you know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah. Jazz, have you got a list of questions there, have you?
I've got like 6 hours of questions in my mind.
Sorry,
I'll go into them next, but one more thing I've got to ask Peter about the prize fighter that nearly came off.
I packed in then. Yeah, but I heard about it. You know what? Would it have been good? I don't know. I know one thing. They would have all been trying to win. I know that for a fact because I would love to have said, "I won the Journey prize fight." I mean, if it was about when I was about the Dunny, I would have loved to have gone in just to test myself against other journeymen, as Mike said, because it would have been a level playing field.
That would have been brilliant.
Yeah,
that would have been brilliant.
Because everyone would have been trying, and that the referee on no one's side. That night the best man would have won, I think.
Yeah.
You would have had no promoter. Oh, he's his promoter, so give him the win. But it would have been a level playing field. So I think it would have been a good idea because I think you would have saw how some journeymen can really fight when they want to. Do you know what I mean? When it's a level playing field. You know what I mean? Would have been interesting.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it? And give us a chance to be able to unleash.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And I think you would have saw some good fights. You know what I mean?
Suppose it could affect them further down the line, though, when people say, "Oh, long enough fight, you can fight, can't you?"
Yeah, because they probably would have saw the true fighter. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it would have been interesting.
Yeah. Before we do wrap it up here, I'll go in. I've got loads and loads of questions. I'll stick to the top 5. Well, so the first question is off Tony Bellew. He said, "What was the most notice that you had for a fight, and what do you genuinely believe that you could have done if you was treated like a prospect and boxing could have been your full-time job?"
The latest notice I've had for a fight. Well, once I've had loads of late notice. People say to me, "Oh, yeah, I had loads and loads of late notice fights." But I've been in the gym one day, come home, I was eating my dinner. Nobby phoned me up and he's gone, "There might be a fight going." I said, "When?" He said, "About 2 hours." I said, "Where?" He said, "Dudley." Well, Dudley ain't far from me. So he said, "I'll get back to you," because there was some kid messing around or whatever. So I put the phone down, carried on eating my dinner. He phoned me back and he's gone, "That fight's on." I said, "Well, I'm a bit heavy." He went, "Don't matter, the kid's heavy anyway." I said, "All right." So I drove up to Dudley, got there for 7 o'clock. I've been training that day, do you know what I mean? And got to the weigh-in. I was about 9-12. And I boxed Rob Hunt, who was a big kid. He was about 10-4. But the first punch, as soon as he come out, the first punch through was a big right hand. And I caught him. And I just made him nuts. I thought he was going to walk through me. But he just stopped. And he thought, "Okay, no. I didn't know you could punch like that." And it made him just box. He just boxed me, if you know what I mean. He had a good jab. I couldn't really get there. I just got moved. I just fucked him about, basically. But I think if I would have dedicated myself properly, just like I said, if I would have stayed amateur and like I would have progressed or whatever, and who's to say I couldn't have fought for a British title or whatever, because there was talk at one time when I was Midland Super Featherweight champion about me fighting Hughie Ford, who was from Birmingham also, for his British title, but he could have done a voluntary because I'd had a few wins then. And but it never come off. And like I say, when I fought for a WBA Intercontinental abroad, a boxer he's called Harold Gear. Well, he beat me, but like I say, I had him over and everything. So there's nothing in the fight. And his next fight, he boxed for the world title at super bantamweight, and he got knocked out in 17 seconds. Harold Gear did, right, against the Mexico. I can't remember his name. And I thought, man, I could have fought that geezer. I'm not saying I would have beat him, obviously, but he wouldn't have knocked me out in 17 seconds. He probably wouldn't have knocked me out, but do you know what I mean? No way he would knock me out in 17 seconds. No chance. But I could have, like I fought quite a few European super bantamweight champions, and I held my own with them. So I know if I would have fought at that level, I wouldn't have been disgraced. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, when we say disgrace, Peter, some of these are some of the names I've seen before in your box ref. He was Lee Selby, Stephen Burke, Kel Brook, Derry Matthews, John Murray, Gavin Rees, Gary Thornhill, Richie Wenton, David Burke, Tony Mulholland, Jason Booth, Scott Harrison, Spencer Oliver, Michael Brody, Nassim Ahmed, Barry Jones, and Duke McKenzie. Now that's just unbelievable.
Yeah. I boxed Patrick Mullins 3 times as well. Remember Patrick Mullins? He fought Spencer Oliver for the Southern area, so it was like fight of the year. Patrick Mullins was ABA champion. I actually boxed Patrick Mullins 3 times, but once I went down Peterborough to box him, and we was last on 8-3, top of the bill. So I'm all gloved up, ready to get in the ring. Next thing, it's kicked off in the arena, please, everything like that. So Frank Maloney's come through and he's gone, fuck it, he said the fight's off. So I was like, oh, sound. So I got paid for 8-3s, you know what I mean? But I was supposed to box once. A geezer called Tonchev. He lost to Oscar De La Hoya in the Olympics final. And also, he was a lightweight, he was big and he was good. He was based over here. And he had like 20 fights, won them all. Blah, blah. And I was supposed to box him once down York or something like that, or York, or it might have been. I remember Dean Powell, I don't like Dean Powell. Remember Dean Powell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Dean's come in to me and he's gone, the show was running late. Dean's gone, Pete, there's 2 fights. There's either your fight can go on or someone else's. He said, give me 50 quid, I'll pull your fight. I said, take the 50, right? And I still got paid a good wedge. And it would have been a hard fight, believe me, because he was a good fighter, this Tonchev. Good. He was from Bulgaria, actually. He was really good.
Brilliant. In that situation, Peter, what do you do? Because if somebody is big and they're good, and you know you've got date booked in for the next 3 weeks after that, how do you go about it?
Sometimes you can be a bit negative and fight ugly and like just fuck. If it's a 4 round or 6 round, what I'll do then, I'll fight for a minute of the round, walk them back, hold them, but I'll just make the fight a bit messy. And you know, in a good boxer, you won't let them get into the rhythm. They get frustrated. The more frustrated they get, the more mistakes they're making, and the angrier they're getting. The more angrier they're getting, they can't hit me because they're trying to pot shot and it ain't happening. I used to talk to fighters and everything. I used to say, I thought you was a banger. They'd be trying to win. I'd say, oh, man. And I'd say, well, an easy fight. I thought it was going to be a hard fight. Like I boxed a kid called Steve Murray once. He fought for the British title twice. When I boxed him, he was a lightweight, but he was a small, stocky kid, but really strong. And he boxed a few kids from my gym. And he'd stopped one of them who was a decent kid. And I was offered the fight. And I went, yeah, I'll have it. So I've gone down there. Glenn McCrory said to me before the fight, Peter, be careful tonight, because he was a banger, this kid. I said, no, don't worry about it. I went in there. The first punch he threw, I think he hurt his hand on the top of my head. And after that, the fight was a piece of piss, and he just couldn't get near me. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes these big punchers ain't as big, because with a big puncher, all you saw is that to be a big puncher, you got to set your feet. As soon as you set the feet, I'd walk off. So every time you went to set the feet, you walk off. So they have to reset themselves again. Do you know what I mean? It's something you learn over the years to do. You don't learn it overnight. You learn it trial and error, really. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was boxing big punches and set the feet in the court, mate, I think, fucking hell. So I remember remember John Kay's in Manchester? I boxed Johnny's second fight. Now, I'll come out for that. Kid having his second fight. Didn't really give him the respect he should have deserved. And he's fucking hit me with a right hand. I thought, okay, now. And he fucking buzzed me. So after that, I tied him up for a round. And then I switched myself, because sometimes I wasn't, you got to be switched up. When I was boxing a decent kid, I'd be switched on from the off. Sometimes I was boxing a kid who was like 1 or 2 fights. I think that. Sometimes I only done it once or twice. Got to get a bit complacent. They didn't move a shot. I think shouldn't have got fucking hit like that. And then it get me on my A game. Then I'd think, nah, start again there. Give that kid the respect he deserves. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes a bit silly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And sorry, Pierre, I got brought into my own questions there. I'll carry on with the questions we had. The second one is from the Olympian Thomas Stalker. He said, what was it like sharing with the ring with his idol, Prince Nassim Hamid? Suppose you've answered that question. And who was your boxing idol?
As a kid growing up, my boxing idol was Charlie Magri, believe it or not, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then I boxed Duke McKenzie, who beat Charlie Magri, do you know what I mean? But when I was younger, so I used to love watching Charlie Magri on the telly, and he used to wear black and gold title boots. I remember saying to my mum when I was about 12, I've got to have these boots, Mum, I've got to have these boots, do you know what I mean? And she got me these boots when my dad got me the boots, do you know what I mean? And he was my idol growing up, but like I used to like Muhammad Ali, the obvious Muhammad Ali, do you know what I mean? Sugar Ray Robinson. I mean, I used to like all the old fighters, do you know what I mean? And but there's too many to mention. Look, I used to love my boxing. I used to watch it all the time.
Brilliant. The next question was from my friend Paddy. He said, was there a moment that you decided to stop winning? But if so?
Well, the case of stop winning. Well, it is. When I fought for the Midland title, my second, when I won the Super, when I defended it, in the first round of my fight, I boxed in Telford, I boxed the local kid there, Brian Robb. And what I'd done, as I threw a shot in the second round, I pulled my shoulder a bit, and it was hurting me all through the fight. And I was losing the fight on points. And nobody said to me in the 10th round, like, going out the 10th round, you need to stop him or you're going to lose. So what I'd done, I fucking threw a shot right hand and I knocked him spark out. And I hurt my shoulder more. And instead of having 6 months, because I tore some ligaments in it, instead of having 6 months off like a sensible person would, I had probably, a month off. So I had a bit of massage, sports therapy on it, and I wasn't working. So what I started doing then, someone said to me about I went and saw someone who'd done acupuncture. So I was having acupuncture on my shoulder, and it was working, but sometimes I'd be warming up in the change rooms, and my shoulder would pop, and I'd have to push the muscle back in. So, so I was having that treatment on it, and then so sometimes I learned to fight one-handed sometimes, basically. But I'd be warming up somewhere in the change room, it'd pop. So I think, fucking hell, and it give me some pain. So, look, so I was having acupuncture on it for years while I was fighting, do you know what I mean? Every couple of weeks I'd go and have a session on it. I'd fight, say if I was fighting on the Saturday, on the Monday or the Tuesday, I'd go and have some acupuncture, and then I wouldn't train, I'd just go running. So I didn't know. So I was saving it to box, actually, do you know what I mean? So that's how it was.
The next one was it got a friend called Mick. Do you realise how important you are to yourself and fighters like yourself? How important you are for young fighters?
Well, I think we are, because like say, if you're a good journeyman and you're boxing these new kids who they've got to learn that they can't just go in and blast everyone out. I mean, there's no point getting these imports over from Bulgaria and all these places and whatever, and they're stopping them in the round because they're learning nothing. It's like, as much as Moses says, when you box Christian Knight, you learn more probably in that fight than you probably did a few more, because he was making you frustrated. So when you have a fight where you're getting frustrated, you learn to get through that frustration, if you know what I mean. So you think, hold on, I've been in this situation before. So when he's holding me and all that now, instead of like trying to babble, I'll relax. And when I get out the clinches, then I'll throw some shots. Do you know what I mean? So it's like with Spencer Oliver and that. He was a good kid. And like when I boxed him, he was like the top. He was like top of the bill for it. It was only a 4-rounder. The crowd he brought, and like when he come into the ring, he was like, fucking hell, look, a world title fight in there. But you've got to learn, if you just go in blasting everyone out, when you step up a level, as you know yourself, when you step up to British, European, world, like these are all learning fights. You can't just, if you've had 10 fights, 10 knockouts, and you haven't really learned nothing. If you're just fighting nobodies, and you've got to have someone who's going to frustrate you, hit you back, mess you about, hit you up the bollocks, and just, so you get into them situations where you don't panic. And that's how you learn a fighter, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I didn't realise this, Pete. I went to America and I seen at the shows, there was fighters, there was fighters out there just fighting, but they weren't good fighters, Pete. They just getting blasted out. And I realised how lucky us Brits are to have actual journeymen who play that role of teaching the fighter. Would you ever take a shine to a fighter and think, I'm going to teach him a bit here?
Yeah, I would. Look, when I was doing the amateurs for a bit, I've got a nephew who's a really good kid, he was, right? And he had like 6 fights, won them all. And big talking, my nephew, like, nothing like me. And he got into the, he was in the junior ABAs, and he got to the quarterfinals, I think. Yeah, it was the quarterfinals. And he was down Leeds, and he was boxing a kid from Leeds. And he did win, but he didn't get the decision. And he was really disheartened. So, and then he kept saying to me after that, because I was training him, like, do you know what I mean? And he had potential. But when I packed my amateur gym in, I walked away from that. He said to me, I want to go to another. I said, well, go to a gym. But I said, you got to do it off your own back. Because when I was a young kid, I used to catch 2 buses to a gym, like, to train. And no one ever, took me. I used to go off my own back. I used to, where I live, it was about 8-9 miles away from the gym. I used to catch a bus, and I used to walk a couple of miles. But, it was a rough area, Ladywood, at Birmingham. It still is. And I used to go there on my own, and then my mate used to box for him, and we used to go together. But if he didn't go, I'd go on my own. And it's like when I was a pro, I weren't driving at first, because I was only young, like 20 and that. I used to have to go to the other side of Birmingham to Nobby's gym, where I used to have to get a bus into Birmingham City Centre, and then a bus out. So if you want to do it, you've got to do it for yourself, not for anyone else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, when you're saying there about you were too young to drive, paying that, I remember getting out my coach's car when I was about 19. I turned professional at 19. Me and me 2 mates, one of them was fighting Delroy Spencer that night. We all got out the back of the coach's car, and Delroy got out of it X5, and we just couldn't understand what was going on.
I've took Del in a few times, you see. Yeah, good lad, nice lad. Yeah, good kid.
Yeah, I've seen him turn it on a few times as well, P, and I thought, fucking hell, he can fight.
Because he was a good amateur, you see, as well. He was a good amateur. Really good. Yeah, he was really good. Yeah. I don't know if he won an ABA titles from that, like flyweights from that. He was a good kid. Yeah. So, I mean, so not all ABA champions go on to, it's just having that luck in it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, if I would have stayed amateur, I thought I might have signed with a Frank Warren or a Frank Maloney or, someone like that or whatever. But because I didn't have, when I went back pro, no one really knew about my amateur record. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Before we do wrap it up, P, thank you so much for your time. I know tonight I'm going to be thinking, why didn't I ask him this and why didn't I ask him that? But before we do wrap it up, P, where do you see boxing, professional boxing going in the future, and what do you make of it at the moment, the way it is with the YouTube fighters and stuff like that?
Well, that YouTube, I suppose it's a way for him to earn money, but it takes away proper fighters, I think, if you know what I mean. I think the UK now has got some of the best fighters in the world. I mean, for how small we are, we're so dominant in the world scene, do you know what I mean? We really are. But these YouTubers, they're taking the piss. I mean, look at that Jake Paul fight the other night. I'm not going to say it was a fight. It weren't a boxing match. It was 2 fucking idiots in a squared ring. Do you know what I mean? To me, I think it's disrespectful to boxing. And then he's calling out Tommy Fury. I hope Tommy Fury knocks the bollocks out of him and does fighting. Do you know what I mean? Gets him well paid handsome for it, because it ain't going to be an hard fight, is it? Do you know what I mean? But let's be truthful, But I think the main bill on some shows, it's a piss take, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd seen what a reporter said about that the other day, and it was quite interesting. He said, they're like, what's his name? Jake Paul, is it?
Yeah.
So if he was to go against a proper boxer, he's going to get knocked the fuck out. He just can't compete. Yeah. But he said what the positive side of it is, they're bringing a different audience to boxing.
They are,
They might start following boxing. So it might actually, in a way, be good for the sport, in a way. It's like celebrities circuit, but then that might inspire people to maybe box or to maybe, watch proper boxing, if you like.
I know what you mean, but I think if you're a proper boxing fan anyway, you're a proper boxing fan anyway. Yeah. If you know what I mean. It's like you only see the celebrities come out to the main fight. They don't stay and watch the undercard, do they? They only come out for the main one. Yeah, it's just a fucking show thing, really. But look, all you need to all this YouTube. I think it's a load of bollocks, all these, you know what I mean? But I'd rather watch 2 journeymen fight than fucking 2 YouTubers. Do you know what I mean? At least there's a level of skill there. There's no skill level there. Do you know what I mean? So it's a piss take. Yeah.
Yeah, one more. I know you must be busy, man. One more question I've got.
Yeah, go on, carry on.
in this current climate, would it have been a tough year for you? Because there hasn't been no small hall shows and the journeymen haven't been getting exposure on the TV, have they? Would this been a tough year for journeymen? Yeah,
it would have been, yeah. Like you say, the only good thing about the shows that have been on, like when Eddie started putting the shows on there was a lot of 50-50 matches. And I think the boxing, when he was doing it from his garden, I think there's some great fights on there was. And you couldn't really say, normally, he's going to win the red corner. But it was like, oh, interesting fighter. You got a kid 10-0, and you got a kid 9-1. Good matchup here. You wouldn't have got, I think you got better matchups earlier on, do you know what I mean? Than you would have. And it would have been tough for me now because I wouldn't have got it there. Might have got on the odd show, but I doubt it because it's all about, even like some journeymen that did fight, like Kevin McCauley fought on one show and that, but it's now and then, weren't it? It's like you're not getting work. Like, looks like if you would have got 3 fights in a year, that's shit for a journeyman. Do you know what I mean? 3 fights a month, not 3 a year.
Yeah. So, Boss P, is really, really appreciate your time. Is there anywhere that the people who are watching today they can find you on social media or anything, or is that?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. What it is, let me just plug one thing for a bit, right? I've got a book coming out the 21st of June, right? Called The King of the Journeymen, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? Like say, there was a book not long ago done by Mark Turtley called The Journeyman, right? And he phoned me up to do the book, right? And I was like, no, I'm not interested, mate. And he was like, yeah, but it's all about journeymen. I went, well, if you're going to do a book, I said, I'll do my own book, you know what I mean? Why should he get paid for my fucking name? So I went, no, you're okay, mate. So he phoned me back again. He's gone, I've got another chapter left in the book. I was like, no, you're okay. You're okay, Frank. You know what I mean? Good luck with your book. And it's supposed to be quite a good book. But then a few people approached me about doing the book. But then I got in touch with this bloke he's from Birmingham called Chris Hackers. We met up one day, started talking, but he's a writer, done quite a bit of writing for boxing sites and that. And he said, would you like to do a book? I said, I'd love to do it. I was saying to him, I'd like to do a book. Started sitting down, meeting, and then was meeting up once a week. He was recording the interviews, and then this lockdown all come. So he was doing a lot of it over the phone and that. And then he got a publisher involved, Pitch Publishing. They give the go-ahead for the book, and it's all written now and all done. And it's about my story growing up. Look, I'm the youngest of nine kids.
Wow.
I had 3 older brothers and 5 older sisters. My 2 brothers have passed away now, one recently, and my one brother passed away 2 weeks before my 200th fight, and I wasn't going to go through the fight, but it was a big fight on the Ricky Hatton undercard in Manchester. I shouldn't have gone. The set of limos, people, give me the works. I lost the fight, fucking box shit, and buried my brother. And then I thought, that's the end of it. I had 200 fights, but I just carried on fighting. And like I say, this book, it's talk about me growing up as a kid. Like, my dad died when I was 15. And I was locked up when I was 15, and the first day I was locked up, that was the day my dad died. My dad used to work in London a lot because he couldn't get no work in Birmingham. He had an Irish family, they all lived in London. So he worked down there Monday to Friday. And the first day I got locked up, my dad died. I got out of there then, and I got 4 months detention out of then. And then I just went, I just hated the world for a few years, and I was just a rebel and fucking troublemaker and a little bastard, basically.
What's your story from when you were a child, Peter, in this book?
Yeah, from when I was a kid growing up boxing as an amateur and that.
Pete, have you got a link that you can give to us as a pre-sale thing so people can order it?
Yeah, I know, because you can pre-order it on Amazon, you say. So I suppose if you just type it in, well, I know you can, if you just type it in, King of the Journeymen, Peter Buckley, it comes up on there, and do you know what I mean?
We'll find a link for that.
Yeah, you'll find it, yeah. But,
well, Peter, we're just about to run out of time, unfortunately. I'm always a bad one. But Peter, thank you very much for your time. I've learned so much, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Peter, so much for your time. All the best in the future.
And you, Jazza, all the best, mate. Nice one.
Thank you, Peter.
See you later, mate.
Cheers,
bye,
mate.
Bye. Bye.
Faster Car Finance provide a smooth, hassle-free way for you to apply for car finance and to get the vehicle of your choice. Whether you have good or bad credit, no deposit is required, A decision is reached within minutes, and one of our dedicated finance advisors will be available to discuss your requirements. Apply now at www.fastercarfinance.co.uk.